So on HBO Boxing After Dark, the winning streak of Joe Smith Jr. came to an end as Sullivan Barrera managed to defeat him by unanimous decision and take his WBC International Light Heavyweight title. Basically, a belt that means that you're highly ranked in the WBC ratings. So ostensibly, maybe Sullivan Barrera will get a shot at somebody like an Adonis Stevenson sometime soon. Um, as for Barrera, did a really good job. Smith basically dropped Barrera in the first round, and then Barrera pretty much dominated every round after that. There were certain moments where Smith was able to land a left hook on Barrera, but Barrera's kind of movement and management of distance was pretty much able to take Joe Smith's right hand completely out of the equation. I think maybe Smith landed like 2 right hands, and they weren't even really clean ones. Really, the damage that Smith did, he did with his left hook. Whereas with Barrera, he was able to do good damage with left uppercuts, right uppercuts, maintain good distance with the jab, and I think the right cross was really his weapon of choice. It was landing high up on Joe Smith's head, up like on the temple. Funny enough, that's actually where Joe Smith's left hook that he dropped Barrera with landed in the first round. But Barrera did a damn solid job, and in spite of the fact that the HBO commentators were so focused on, talking about how amazing Andre Ward is in light of, Sullivan Barrera's good win over Joe Smith, as well as, of course, the recent win that he had over Vyacheslav Shabransky. I do think that they didn't, that kind of goes without saying. And, it's one thing to mention, but it's another thing to be harping on it round after round after round. And not necessarily giving Sullivan Barrera the credit for what he's doing right in front of you. Because Barrera did a damn solid job. He did a bang-up job. Has proven himself to be really one of the better fighters at light heavyweight without a world title. And I would say maybe with one more good win, could very well be really deserving of another title shot. Of course, when he fought Andre Ward that first time, he was a bit of a novice as a pro. He has the extensive amateur background, but amateurs and pros are very different things, especially the type of amateur boxing that Sullivan Barrera did. That was a totally different type of amateur boxing from now, where it's a bit more pro style. It's scored more like pros, and so fighters with more of a pro style are going to excel a bit more. Whereas before, you could be a total chump that just had fairly quick reflexes, and you could win at what was basically a game of freeze tag in AIBA style boxing. And then come into the pros and get completely wasted. That's happened to several fighters. But Barrera did a good job. He's managed to, I think, improve since the Andre Ward fight. I think in that fight especially, he was waiting way too long to kind of get going. Was waiting on Ward to kind of make the first move and then to counter him. And part of that is Ward, being tactically smooth and excelling at what he does as well. But I think that Barrera could very well do better in a rematch. Not necessarily saying that he deserves a rematch, of course. At least not now. Like I said, I think that he's still probably another fight or two away from really deserving a title shot at either Ward or Adonis Stevenson. Like I said, he has that high ranking now for the WBC. Stevenson does have the mandatory coming up against Eleider Alvarez. Hopefully that comes up fairly soon. Alvarez, it seems like, has been waiting on that title shot for 2 years now. Promotional and money issues notwithstanding, there's always some kind of crazy money issue going on at light heavyweight, it seems, especially at that weight class. But as for Barrera, he's just going in there and he's winning the fights. He's going in there and winning the fights, and that's all you could necessarily really ask for him. I really would like to see him against Alexander Vosdik. I think that would be a really good fight. I'm not sure if Vosdik is in line for any kind of major shot yet. But he's managed to prove to be a really high-level operator. Has performed extremely well his last couple of fights, and actually I think HBO's kind of taken a liking to him a little bit more so than they had been before. Whereas before it was almost like he was just kind of filler to prop up Lomachenko and Usyk. But I think in his own right, I think he's managing to get a little bit of buzz about him, and deservingly. I think he's pulled off a couple of good wins, and I think him versus Barrera. The winner of that fight would deserve a title shot against any champion. I don't give a damn who it is. The winner of that fight would deserve a title shot. It's a very good fight to be made. Two of the best fighters in the light heavyweight division without a title. I think Jim Lampley even mentioned Barrera possibly fighting Sergey Kovalev. Kovalev coming off the loss trying to rebound. That's not a bad fight either. That's not a bad fight either. And I mean, hey, if Barrera is able to take out Kovalev, I mean, shit, you can't necessarily say that he doesn't deserve another shot. That'd be some pretty impressive stuff for him. But Barrera did the damn thing. Put a halt on the Joe Smith train. And I mean, for Joe Smith, it's back to the drawing board. I mean, the thing is that he's a very raw fighter, has plenty to improve upon. Not necessarily sure how much he's going to improve upon. I mean, he does have his day job and everything. Who knows if he'll be able to take up boxing full time? Maybe, possibly after the payday that he got here, managing to get into the six figures now finally. But I mean, he wasn't necessarily able to get over this hump in order to really make the real money, the real like truly life changing money as much. But I mean, who knows? He might be able to put some things together, get some nice paydays together. His crosstown rival Shawnee Monahan completely got blown out, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the two of them fight in a crossroads fight, and I would definitely favor Smith in that fight. Definitely. I mean, not even just by the virtue of the way that Marcus Brown was able to take out Monahan, and the fact that Smith has power of his own that could take him out just as abruptly. But, I mean, that, and also just the fact that, I mean, Smith has always been more consistent in my eyes than Monahan. Monahan is very consistently inconsistent. Whereas Smith, you kind of know what you're going to get when you see him fight. Pretty raw fighter, but a guy with a hell of a lot of power. And if he lands that power, I mean, he that could be the end of you. I mean, it looked like it might possibly be an early night for Barrera at first. Barrera was just able to put things together, get his bearings about him, and do good work. Just do good, solid boxing work. And as for Smith, like I said, he's back to the drawing board for him. A guy with that much power, though, he has plenty to improve upon. If he can just even get some of those little fundamental things in terms of boxing technical skills together, he might be able to pull off some sort of run in a few years or so. But I mean, that all remains to be seen for both fighters. But props to Barrera for the win, and I mean, solid performance. So with that said, I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.